So in the last session, so we started discussing about the database management, where we have seen how can we create the database and what are the various techniques that are there to manage the database, and how can we perform the different types of operations on the database, right? And we have also seen what are the default database that we have and what is the significance of each and every database. So the next topic in Postgres database administration is table space management.
Free 1 minute. Yesterday's class, how to will connect to the user for creating template database.
Did not get you. How to connect to the user?
Yeah, we'll actually, if you want to create any duplicate database, we have super user, right? So with that super user only we can create.
Yes.
Uh, so if we connect to that table space, the database, it automatically connect to that user, right?
Did not get your point actually. What is the, I mean, relationship between user and database?
Database is a collection of objects, right?
Yes.
User is a owner.
See, when you connect to a database, how it is connected automatically to the user? That's what I'm trying to ask you. So
Yeah.
the user and database are different entities, right?
Yes, yes. Actually, I'm have doubt that
Mm.
uh, how we will know that that we connected to the owner of that user and we creating another DB
That you need to check. How can we check the owner of a database?
slash L that we can.
Slash L. From that only you can check, no? 1 minute. 192.168.29.
So when we connect, it automatically connect to Postgres, right?
Yes.
From that, we need to connect to our.
See, for that you need to check the class which we have discussed, like how can we connect to your Postgres database. So when you do not specify a username while using PSQL, so which user it will be take considered? The OS user, right?
Yeah.
You did not get my point. Okay. So PSQL. When I do PSQL C slash and you do slash C, you are now connected to a database Postgres as a user Postgres. If you want to connect to some other database like EDW. So now if you do slash C, it will show you are now connected to a database EDW as a user Postgres. If you want to check the owner of a database slash L, owner is a Postgres. What is your question here?
So now with other user like
Ah,
here owners are same, right?
hmm.
With other owner, we have to create one duplicate database.
Yeah, we did that yesterday, huh?
That one to switch user. I'm asking.
You okay, you cannot switch here. You need to exit from here and you need to log in. PSQL hyphen capital U username.
Okay, so we should give here only, right? OS level.
Yes, OS level only. I think
Okay,
user
okay.
does not exist. Slash D. Yeah, demo user is there. Yesterday we have seen, no, by connecting to the demo user and all. Yeah.
Yeah, this one I know. I thought in database level also we can switch like that.
Slash C. See, user demo. Okay.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So the today's topic is that table space management, where we are going to see what is a table space and what are the default table spaces that we have, and what are the different operations that we can perform on a table spaces, right? So generally, so what we have discussed the Postgres cluster contains one or more databases. Each database contains schemas. Each schema contains some objects. An object can be a table, procedure, function, view, or it can be anything, right? Okay. So the next thing that we are going to discuss is, so when you create a table, logically the table is going to go and sit in the schema, right? Logically it is going to go and sit in the schema. Physically, where it is going to get stored? Physically it is going to get stored in the disk, right? Physically it is going to get stored in some physical memory which is a disk. So So that, in other words, we can tell it, we can call it as the physically the table, the database, the objects are going to go and sit on the table spaces. Okay, table space where we are going to create a table space. So whenever you create any database, we are not going to provide any table space name. So when you do not provide any table space name while creating a database, there will be one default database table space will be there, that will be acts as a default table space of the database. So whenever you create any object, that objects will go and sit on the default table space of the database physically. So what are the default table space that we have in Postgres? We have two default table space in Postgres. One is pg underscore default, and second one is pg underscore global. Okay, pg underscore default, and second one is a pg underscore global. So these two are the default table spaces that comes in whenever you perform the database initialization. So pg underscore default is a table space which holds users data. When I say users data, so as a user you logged into a Postgres database and you created some tables and all, by default it will go and sit here. Okay, that is the reason why i have I have told you, like, whenever you create any database, each database will be assigned with one table space by default, which is a default table space of the database. And if you do not specify any table space name, pg underscore default will be the default table space of the database. To understand more on this, when you do like /l plus to get a detailed listing, sorry, /l plus edw. So while creating a edw database, did I mention any table space name? No. If you do not specify any table space name, pg underscore default will be the default table space of the database. The pg underscore default will be the default table space of the database. That's the reason why I told you, like, pg underscore default is a table space which holds the user's data, and pg underscore global is another table space which contains data dictionaries information. So all the data dictionaries, whatever we are talking, whether it is a pg database or it is a pg namespace or pg settings and everything, so this will go and sit on the pg underscore global table space. So there are two default table space. One is a pg default and second one is a pg global. pg default stores the user's data, pg underscore global stores the data dictionaries information. Okay, how can we list the table spaces that are available in the Postgres cluster? /db is a command to list the default table spaces that are available in the Postgres cluster. So pg underscore default is one default table space and pg underscore global is another default table space. And the next thing that we need to see is, if you remember, when we were discussing about the directory structures in Postgres, we have discussed that there is a directory called pg underscore table space, pg underscore tbl spc, which contains the information about the user created table spaces. As of now, did we create any table spaces? No. So that is the reason why you don't see anything in the pg underscore tbl spc location. So the moment if you create any table space, then an entry will be added in the pg underscore tbl spc location. So how can we create a table space? So the syntax for creating a table space is create table space. So what is the syntax for creating a table space? Syntax for creating a table space is create table space, table space name, location of the table space. Okay, this location should be the physical location on the Linux server. This location should be what? Physical location on the Linux server. So now what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to create a table space. Before creating a table space, you need to create the directories on which you want to locate. So now what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to create a location called mkdir-p/u02 postgres table spaces /app underscore data. This is the location that I have created. Okay, 1 minute. Admin 1 2 3. Okay. Now I need to change the ownership. CHOWN hyphen capital R slash U02 slash U0. Sorry, CHOWN hyphen R. I'm changing the ownership. Okay. Slash U02 Postgres table spaces. Sudo. I logged in as a Postgres user, so sudo. Now, so what I have created the location where I want to create the table space. What is the location? CD slash U02 Postgres table spaces app data pwd. This is the location. See, nothing is there. Now what I'm trying to do, I am trying to create a table space. How can we create a table space? Create table space, and this table space is a global level object. Okay, table space in Postgres is a global level object and it is independent of the database. Okay, I mean to say a table space can be accessible to the all the databases that are available in the Postgres cluster. Okay, create table space app data location. Okay, location, what is the location that you need to provide? U02 Postgres table spaces app data. See, the table space has been created. Now let me do slash db. So a table space app underscore data is created with the location U02 Postgres table space app data. And as I said, whenever you create any user defined table spaces, an entry will be added in the pg underscore tbl spc location. Okay, now let me go to pg underscore tbl spc ls hyphen ntlc ls hyphen ltr. If you see that an entry is added in the pg underscore tbl spc location. What is this 16403? 16403 is the OID of the table space, if you remember. So whenever you create, okay, whenever you create any object or anything in the Postgres database or Postgres cluster, each thing will be assigned with some unique value, which we call it as a OID, or object identifier of the object identifier. So now the next thing that we need to observe is previously before creating the table space, this location is empty. Now let me go to this location and check what is there. So if you see, whenever you create any table space, in the table space location a directory will be added with the name same as version of the Postgres. Which version of the Postgres that we have installed? We have installed the Postgres 16. If you see, there is a directory that got created with the name same as the Postgres version. Let me go to this. If you see, let me go. Yeah, if you see anything, do you see anything here? No, nothing is there. So now observe it carefully. Just I am logging into a database. So now I am connecting to the EDW database and I am trying to create a table on the table space. Okay. So before proceeding with table creation, okay, so let's say I connected to a EDW database. Okay, I connected to a EDW database. Now let me create a table. How to do that? Create table. Okay, T1 n space numeric. When you create table like this table will go and sit on the which table space? Default table space of the database. When you do not specify table space name, okay, when you do not specify the table space name while creating a table, then the table will go and sit on the default table space of the database. So how can we create a table on a particular table space? How can we create a table on a particular table space is, we can do like this: create table T2 n space numeric, create table T2 n space numeric table space app data. Create table T2 n space numeric create table T2 n space numeric table space app data. This is how you can create a table on a particular table space. Now let me go and create this table. So now I am in the EDW database. Now let me create a table. Okay, create table T1 n space numeric table space app data. Okay, I created a table. Now let me go and check what is there. Previously it was empty. If you see, there is a directory which got created with some number 16391. Now let me go to this 16391. Now you will see something. So what is this 16391? Let's log in and check. So select OID comma dat name from PG underscore database. If you see for the EDW database, what is the OID of this database? 16391. So an entry will be, so whenever you create any table, okay, whenever you create any table in the particular table space, in the table space location, an entry will be added with the name same as OID of the database. Under that it is going to create the table. So okay, that's how you can check. So how can we check whether the table is how can we check the table space of a particular table? So there is a data dictionary called PG underscore tables. Okay, there is a data dictionary called PG underscore tables from which you can check the table space name for a particular table. So I am on, let me log into the EDW database again. Okay, let me log into the EDW database. Now /d PG underscore tables. Okay, now select schema name, comma, just forget about the schema name. More details about the schema name you will get it in the next class. Okay, select schema name, comma, table name, comma, table space from PG underscore tables, where table name equal to, what is the table that we wanted to check? T1. So this T1 table got created in which table space? App data. So as we have explicitly mentioned the table space name, this table is this table is gets created on the app data table space. And how, see, whenever you, so the points that you need to remember is, whenever you create any table without mentioning the table space name, then the table will go and sit on the default table space of the database. How can we check the default table space of the database? /l plus is a command which can be used to find out the default table space of the database. And how, what is the other way to find out the default table space of the database is, so let's see PG underscore database. Okay, in the PG underscore database I can get a couple of columns. Select dat name, comma, so do we have anything about table space? Yeah, dat table space. It is of what type? OID type. Okay, so dat table space from PG underscore database, where dat name equal to, I wanted to find the default table space of a EDW database. So for the EDW database, the default table space is 1663. What kind of type we got here? We got OID. From this OID we need to find out the table space name. How can we find out the table space name? What is the data dictionary related to the table spaces is /db is a command to find out the list of table spaces that are available in the Postgres cluster, and PG underscore table space is a data dictionary which contains information about the all the table spaces in Postgres cluster. /d PG underscore table space. Okay, select SPC name, comma, okay, select SPC name, comma, OID from PG underscore table space, where OID equal to, what is the 1663? Sorry, select as where, see, PG underscore default. So the default table space of the EDW database is what? Sorry. The default table space of the EDW database is PG underscore default. Okay. And the point is, when you do not specify, okay, when you do not specify any table space name while creating a table, then what would be the where it will go and get created? It will go and get created on the default table space of the database. And one more point is, let's say I have a app data table space. Okay, I have a app data table space. So the table spaces in Postgres is a global level object, which means it is independent of the database. Okay, EDW database can create the objects on the app data table space, and demo database also can create the objects on the table space, and Postgres database can also create objects on this table space. So from that, what I can conclude, right, a table space can have objects from the multiple databases. So a table space can have what? A table space can have objects from the multiple databases. So, and one more point is, how can we assign a default table space to a database? Let's say I have a requirement to create a demo database. So when I create a demo database, what is the command? Create database demo. So this is how you will create a database. So when you create a database like that, what will happen? As you did not specify any table space name, what would be the default table space of this demo database? The default table space for this demo database is pg underscore default. So when you do not specify any table space name while creating a database, then the default database table space for the database would be pg underscore default. Now let me create database demo. I'm not mentioning anything. Now /l plus demo. See, what is the default table space? pg underscore default. How can I assign a default table space while creating a database? How can we do that, right? Create database. Okay, create database training table space app data. Create database training table space app data. When you do that, this app data will be the default table space of the database. Now let me do this. Create database training. Okay, create database training table space. Okay, this is how it will be created. Now let me connect to the training database. Okay, PSQL -u Postgres -d training. Okay, now I connect to the database. Now what I'll do, right? I'll try to create a table. Create table test1 n space numeric. So where this will go and get created? This will go and get created on the default table space of the database called training. What is the default table space of the database training? The default table space of the database training is app data. If you see here, the default database for the default table space for the database training is app data. Now let me check. Select table name comma table space from pg underscore tables where table name equal to training. Sorry, table name is what? Test1. I'm sorry. So what is the default table space it is showing? This is very important. The default table space it is showing is empty, right? The default table space it is showing is empty. So why it is showing empty means, when that if the table is created, okay, in Postgres, if the table is created on the default table space of the database, So if the table is created as the default table space of the database, then table space name is empty. Right? So what is the default table space of the database here? The default table space of the database is app data. So though, and while creating the table, as you did not mention the table space name, then it will go on create on the default table space of the database, which is app data. That is the reason why the table space entry for that particular table is empty. Okay, now let me try to create one more table. Create table test to n space numeric table space app data. Do you see any difference between the first one and second one? In the first one also create table test one, it got created on the app data. Why it got created on the app data? Because app data is the default table space of the database training. And and now in the next thing, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to create a table and by specifying the app data. Okay, now I have specified the app data. Now let me check where this get created. Now table name like test percentile. So test 1 and test 2 both are having table space name as empty, because though I explicitly mentioned the table space name here while creating the table, but this table space is the default table space for the database training. That is the reason why the table space entry is empty. Now let me create one more table. Create table test 3 n space numeric. Now table space pg underscore default. Now let me check this command. Select tables, table space name from pg underscore table. See, for test 3, as I have while creating a table, I mentioned table space name as a pg underscore default. For test 3, it is showing as pg underscore default, because pg underscore default is not the default table space of the database. So what is the default table space of the database here? The default table space of the database training is app data, as we have created test 3 table on the different table space. That is the reason why it is showing the table space name. So the point that needs to be understand here is, when you create any table on the default table space of the database, then the table space entry in the pg underscore tables data dictionary is empty. Okay, now how can we change the default table space of a database? So I have a training database. So what is the default table space for this database? App data. Right. Now what I will do, I will try to create one more data table space called training underscore data. How can I do that? For that, first what I need to do, I need to create some locations. mkdir-p /u02 postgres table spaces app underscore data. This is the location I have created. Now let me create a table space. So create table, sorry, let me do this to understand more there. mkdir-p training underscore data. Okay, now let me log into the Postgres database and create table space training data location. I have created a table space. How can we check /db? Now in my case, for the training database, app underscore data is a default table space, but I wanted to change from app underscore data to training underscore data. App underscore data to what? Training underscore data. How can we change it, right? So the command is alter database name. Alter database name with table space. Table space name. alter database name with table space name. Alter database name with table space name. So before doing that, let me find out /l plus training. So what is the default table space? App data. Now alter database training with table space training under training data. So I have changed it. Now let me check /l plus training. See, now if you see, the default table space is changed to what? Training underscore data. So whenever you change the default table space of a database, all the objects from the old table space will be moved to new default table space. Okay. So whenever you change the default table space of the database, all the objects from the old table space will be moved to new table space. And one more thing. So now let me connect to a Postgres data as a training database and create some table. So where I wanted to create a table. So like create table demo n space numeric. So whenever you create any table without specifying a table space name, by default where it will go and get created? It will go and get created on the default table space of the database. In our case, what is the default table space of the database? It is training data. Right now, okay, so that is the reason why, as it got created on the default table space of the database, the table space entry for the table is empty. Now how can I move a table from one table space to another table space? How can I move a table? Alter table. So currently the demo table is in the default table space of the database, which is training data. Currently the demo table is there in the default table space of the database, training data, and now I wanted to move this table from training data to app data. Okay, so how can I move? What is the syntax? Alter table schema and update table name. So anyway, forget about the schema name because it got created on the public schema. More about the schema names you will get it in the tomorrow's class. Okay, alter table name. What is the table name? Demo. Set table space. New table space name. What is the new table space name? App data. This is the syntax. Now let me do alter table demo set table space app data. So let me check this. Now you will get the table space name because app underscore data is not a default table space of the database training. So the table from the default demo is moved from the default table space to the new table space, which is app data. Now how can we move all the tables from one table space to the another table space? Okay, how can we move all the tables from one table space to the another table space? Okay, alter table all. Okay, alter table all in table space. Alter table all in table space old table space name. Alter table all in table space old table space name and set table space new table space name. alter table all in table space old table space name and set table space new table space name. Okay, this is how you can change. So now let me try to find out. Select table name comma table space from pg underscore table where table name like test. So this test1 test2 are in which table space? Default table, so which means training data. From this I will move it to app data table alter table all in table space training data set table space app data. See, all got moved. If you see here, see all that got test1 and test2 got moved to app underscore data. Previously they were in training data, now they got moved to app data. The next syntax, so how can we rename a table space? Let's say I have a table space called training data. I wanted to rename this table space to training underscore data. How can I rename? The rename can be done, okay, the renaming can be done by using a alter table space command. The command is alter table space name. What is the table space name? Training underscore training data rename to training underscore data. Okay, now let me move this. Alter table space. What is the table space name? The table space name is training data rename to training underscore data. Now slash db. So this is how you can rename the table space. And one more and the last point that we are going to discuss about the table spaces is simply creating a table space will not help the normal user or unprivileged user. So because we need to provide some privileges on the table space. Okay, simply creating a table space will not help for the unprivileged users. The unprivileged user should have create on table space. Okay, create on table space privilege to create the objects on the table space. Now what I'll do, right, just I'll log in as a demo user, psql-u demo. Okay, now let me try to create some table. Create table tg n space numeric. Okay, create table tg n space numeric and table space app data. You will not get, so permission denied for, okay, it is a permission denied for schema public. Now let me give the permissions for the public schema. This privileges we will be discussing during the user and privilege management. Okay, grant create on schema public to grant create on schema public to demo. So now let me log in as a demo user again and let me try to create some table. Forget about the permission that we will be discussing during the users and privilege management. So now what is the error that you got? Permission denied for table space app data. So now again I log in as a super user and grant create on table space app data to user demo. Grant create and table space grant create 1 minute grant create and table space app data to demo. Okay, it granted. Now let me log in as a demo user. Now let me try to create this table. This table got created on the app data table space. So simply creating a table space will not help the unprivileged users. The user should have a create on table space to create the objects on the particular table space. With this, so we have completed the table space management in Postgres, and in the next session we are going to discuss about the schema management. And one more thing, the last thing that we need to discuss is how can we drop a table space. If you want to drop a table space, the command would be drop table space name. So this drop command will fail. Okay, this drop command will fail if the table space contains any objects. So if you want to drop a table space, the table space should be of what? Empty. So with this, we have completed the concept of table space management in Postgres. In the next session, we are going to discuss about the schema management. So sorry, any doubts so far? Any doubts?
No.
Yeah. So I'll be uploading this video. In the next class, we are going to start the schema management. Okay. Thank you.